What a night it was in the 2026 FIFA World Cup. A night that reminded everyone why we fall in love with this game in the first place. Argentina against Cabo Verde in the round of 32. On paper, it looked like a routine win for the defending champions. Most people expected goals, dominance, and an early night for Messi and his teammates. But what actually unfolded over 2 hours of football was something else entirely. It was tension, shock, near heartbreak, and then pure magic in the dying moments. A match that started with doubt and ended with one of the most emotional celebrations this tournament has seen so far. And at the center of it all was a 39-year-old man who simply refuses to let his story end quietly. From the moment the teams walked out onto the pitch, you could feel the weight of expectation on Argentina's shoulders. They were the favorites, the defending world champions, the team with the greatest player of his generation still wearing the number 10. Cabo Verde, on the other hand, were the ultimate underdogs, a small island nation with a population smaller than most big cities, stepping onto the biggest stage in football for the first time in their history. Nobody gave them a real chance. But sometimes in football, the story writes itself in ways nobody predicts. And tonight, Cabo Verde came to fight. They came with a plan, with belief, and with the kind of courage that makes underdog stories unforgettable. The first half began with Argentina trying to control the game the way they usually do. They passed the ball around patiently, Messi dropped deep to receive it between the lines, and the team tried to stretch Cabo Verde's defense. But something felt off. Cabo Verde were not sitting back in fear. They were compact, organized, and incredibly disciplined. Every time Argentina tried to break them down, they found a wall of blue shirts. And then, against the run of play, the shock arrived. A long ball over the top caught Argentina's defense sleeping for just a second. Cabo Verde striker made the perfect run, took one touch to control, and calmly slotted the ball past the goalkeeper. The stadium fell into stunned silence. Cabo Verde were leading 1-0. The underdogs had drawn first blood, and the script everyone expected had been torn up in less than half an hour. Argentina tried to respond immediately. You could see the frustration on Messi's face as he demanded the ball more and more. He started dropping even deeper, trying to pull defenders out of position and create space for his teammates. Lautaro Martinez was working hard up front, but Cabo Verde's backline was giving nothing away. Chance after chance was created, but the final pass or shot was either blocked or saved. The half ended with Cabo Verde still leading 1-0, and for the first time in this World Cup, Argentina looked genuinely rattled. The pressure was building, and everyone in the stadium knew that if they didn't find a way back quickly, this could turn into one of the biggest shocks in tournament history. The second half told a completely different story. Argentina came out with fire in their eyes. Messi was everywhere, dropping between the lines, turning with the ball, and spraying passes that opened up the Cabo Verde defense for the first time. The equalizer felt inevitable, and it finally arrived in the 57th minute. A perfectly timed through ball from Messi found Alvarez making a run behind the defense. One touch, one calm finish, and the scores were level at 1-1. The relief on the Argentine bench was visible. Players were shouting, punching the air, and for a moment it felt like normal service had been resumed. But Cabo Verde had not come to this World Cup just to make up the numbers. They stayed dangerous on the counter-attack, and in the 73rd minute they punished Argentina again. A quick break, a moment of hesitation in defense, and the ball was in the back of the net. 2-1 to Cabo Verde. Suddenly the dream was alive again for the underdogs, and the nightmare was back for Argentina. At that point, with less than 20 minutes left in normal time, most people watching around the world started believing that history was about to be made. Cabo Verde were 20 minutes away from one of the greatest upsets in World Cup knockout history. Argentina looked tired, frustrated, and for the first time in a long time, vulnerable. Messi was still fighting, still trying to create something out of nothing, but the Cabo Verde players were throwing their bodies in front of every shot. The clock was ticking, the tension was unbearable, and it felt like the fairy tale might actually come true. Then came extra time, and with it came the moment that will be remembered for years. The 112th minute. Argentina were pushing everything forward. Cabo Verde were exhausted but still fighting for every ball. Messi picked up the ball in midfield, drove forward with purpose, and played a perfectly weighted pass into the path of Lautaro Martinez. The shot was blocked by a desperate defender, but the rebound fell kindly. And there was Messi. One touch to control it, one look up, and then that left foot did what it has done so many times before. The ball flew into the top corner. 2-2. The stadium erupted. Messi didn't celebrate wildly. He just stood there for a second, breathing heavily, before being mobbed by his teammates. But even then, he wasn't finished. With just 2 minutes left in extra time, the 118th minute arrived. Argentina won a corner, but it was cleared. The ball fell to Messi on the edge of the box. Two Cabo Verde defenders rushed to close him down. Most players in that situation would have looked for a pass or tried to win a foul. Not Messi. He took one touch to shift the ball onto his stronger left foot, created half a yard of space, and then curled an absolute beauty into the far corner. The goalkeeper had no chance. 3-2. Last-minute magic. In the 118th minute of a World Cup knockout match, Lionel Messi had delivered again when his team needed him most. What happened after that goal is what makes football more than just a sport. As soon as the ball hit the net, Messi didn't run to the corner flag or do any celebration dance. He turned and sprinted straight toward Lautaro Martinez. The two of them collided in a tight, emotional hug in the middle of the pitch. It wasn't just a celebration. It was two players who had been through everything together, sharing a moment of pure relief and love for the game. The entire Argentine bench emptied onto the pitch. Players were crying, shouting, and piling on top of each other. Messi was screaming with everything he had left in his body. In that moment, you could see the weight he carries, the pressure, the legacy, and the pure passion that still burns inside him even at 39 years old. Cabo Verde's players dropped to the ground in devastation. They had given everything. They had played with heart, discipline, and belief. For long periods, they had looked like they might actually pull off the impossible. And even in defeat, they walked off the pitch with their heads held high. They had earned the respect of everyone watching. Argentina, meanwhile, knew they had been given a serious scare. This was not the dominant performance many expected. They had been sloppy at the back, slow in build-up at times, and for long stretches they looked ordinary. But that is what separates good teams from great ones. Great teams find a way to win even when they are not at their best. And tonight, they found that way through the genius of their captain. When the final whistle finally blew, the emotions poured out even more. Messi walked around the pitch, clapping the fans, but you could see the exhaustion and the relief written all over his face. This goal, these two goals in extra time, meant more than just progression to the next round. It was a statement, a reminder that even as the years pass and the body gets older, the mind and the talent remain something special. The hug with Martinez will be replayed for years because it captured everything beautiful about football. Two teammates, two fighters, sharing a moment that words can barely describe. Looking back at the match, there are so many talking points. Argentina's defense looked shaky for long periods. They allowed Cabo Verde too many transitions and too much space on the counter. But their attacking quality, especially in the biggest moments, was undeniable. Messi's performance was not his most dominant in terms of minutes on the ball, but when it mattered most, he produced two moments of pure quality that changed the game. Cabo Verde's organization and work rate were outstanding. They made Argentina work for every single chance and almost created one of the greatest stories in World Cup history. In the end, experience and individual brilliance made the difference. This match will be remembered not just for the result, but for the story. It was a reminder that in football, nothing is guaranteed. Even the biggest teams can be pushed to the edge by teams with nothing to lose and everything to gain. It was a reminder that age is just a number when you have the talent and the mentality of Lionel Messi. And it was a reminder of why we watched this game. For the drama, the emotion, the moments that make you jump off your seat, and the celebrations that make you emotional even if you are just watching from home. So there it is. Argentina move on to the round of 16 after a night they will not forget anytime soon. Cabo Verde can hold their heads high knowing they gave everything and almost made history. And Lionel Messi once again proved that when the lights are brightest and the pressure is highest, he still finds a way to deliver magic. If you felt the tension, the shock, and the emotion of this match the way I did, then you already know why we love this beautiful game so much. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If this breakdown gave you chills or made you relive the match in a different way, make sure you drop a like on the video. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already and turn on the notification bell so you never miss these kinds of deep match breakdowns. Tell me in the comments who your man of the match was tonight. Was it Messi for those 2 extra time goals and that emotional celebration? Or do you think Cabo Verde's entire team deserved it for the way they fought? And let me know which match from this World Cup you want me to break down next. I read every single comment. Once again, thank you for being here. Take care of yourself, keep loving football, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, peace.